Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Hockey Talk with TG Podcast. I'm Todd Glenn. So hopefully you guys are having a great Friday. And today is also World College Radio Day. And the last day to vote is October the 7th, which is on a Monday. So hopefully you get your voting registration in before the deadline because that is the last day to vote. But anyway, we are going to get started with some NHL news for the day. So Quinton Byfield notches a hat trick in the Kings 4-1 win over the Boston Bruins Thursday at Center Videotron in Quebec City. So they weren't playing at Crypto.com Arena. They were playing in another arena in Montreal in Quebec. Adrian Kempe also scored, and Kevin Fiala had 2 assists for the LA Kings, who are now 4-1 during this preseason. They played their final preseason game at home at Crypto.com Arena Saturday against the defending Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers, which that game will come on at 6 o'clock p.m. Central Time. David Riddick made 13 saves on 14 shots faced in net for LA. As for the Bruins, Patrick Brown scored the lone goal, and the Bruins are now 2-3-1 during this preseason, and they also play their final preseason game, but it's on the road, so they will travel to D.C. to take on the Washington Capitals Saturday at 4 o'clock p.m. Central Time, and that game will air on NHL Network. Jonas Korpisalo, he made 22 saves on 26 shots faced in net, so I don't know where the Bruins goaltending situation is at the moment with Jeremy Swayman unsigned and Linus Ullmark in Ottawa traded for Jonas Korpisalo, but we will just have to see in the near future. Moving on to another preseason game from Thursday. So Jordan Kyrou scores a minute and 43 seconds into overtime to give the Blues a 4-3 win over the Dallas Stars. So he's also another player I have on my fantasy team as well, so hopefully he doesn't let me down. And I know that's kind of ironic because I'm a Blackhawks fan and we have a strong rivalry with the Blues, but he certainly can light the lamp, can show up in like big time moments, so that's why I had him. Also, I thought he was a solid good player. But anyway, Philip Broberg and Kasperi Kapanen also had a goal and assist for the Blues, who are now 2-4-0 during their preseason. They wrap up their preseason game Saturday when they head to Fiserv Forum to take on the Chicago Blackhawks. So the Blackhawks will not be playing at the United Center for their final preseason game. They were actually, Blues and Blackhawks will actually be at Fiserv Forum, which is home of the NBA's Milwaukee Bucks, to face each other in their final preseason game of the year. Jordan Binnington made 17 saves for St. Louis, so another player I have on my fantasy team. I know that's ironic. Trust me, I find that very ironic to have on my fantasy team. But hey, you need a good goalie, and Jordan Binnington, solid, great goalie to watch. He led the Blues to their first Stanley Cup in 2019, so he's somebody that I needed on my fantasy hockey team. Logan Stankoven scored twice for the Dallas Stars, who were playing their final preseason game Thursday. They ended their preseason with a 5-0-1 record. Of course, if you didn't see my bold predictions video on the TG Hockey channel, I said that they were going to take home the President's Trophy at the end of the season. But we will just have to see. Logan Stankoven is another rookie I'm going to be excited to watch, because you take a look at his stats in the AHL. He's got 57 points in 47 games played with the Texas Stars. So 24 goals, 33 assists for 57 points in 47 games played. So I can't wait to see what he does in the NHL. He did play at least a few games in the NHL last season, notching 14 points in 24 games played, 6 goals, 8 assists for 14 points in 24 games played. But he spent most of the time in the AHL than the NHL last season. Jake Oettinger had 25 saves in the game as well. So Jake Oettinger, great goalie to watch. I have him on my fantasy team as well. So hopefully he does not let me down this season. But moving on to another preseason game. So Kevin Labanc, he has a hat trick in the Devils' 5-4 loss to the Philadelphia Flyers. So, of course, the Devils were playing a split squad game. So that was the AHL team that was playing that game Thursday against Philly. The NHL team was in Prague getting ready for their regular season play against the Buffalo Sabres. So that was a split squad game. And we also saw the AHL team play against the New York Rangers. So again, NHL team wasn't there. It was the AHL team that was there. For the Devils, Isaac Poulter made 24 saves on 29 shots faced the net, and they ended their preseason 1-6-0. For the Flyers, they opened up their regular season October 11 against the Vancouver Canucks. So that will be the start of a 4-game road trip. They also played a home opener against the Vancouver Canucks as well. So that will be something to watch. I think the home opener is on a Saturday. I think it's on October the 12th, October 12th, 19th. I could be wrong, but I know the home opener is somewhere on a Saturday, but I don't know if it's the 12th or the 19th. It might be the 12th. I don't know. We'll just have to see. Moving on now. So Clayton Keller, he was named the first team captain of Utah Hockey Club Friday. And we all know, great player to watch. He led the Coyotes in goals, assists, and points last season. So 33 goals, 43 assists for 76 points in 78 games played last season. And I know he's going to be a great captain to watch for Utah Hockey Club. I mean, I really do like that choice of Clayton Keller being team captain because, like I said, one of the best players on the Arizona Coyotes when the team was called the Arizona Coyotes. He was a great player to watch besides Logan Cooley, which I'm assuming he will be an alternate captain this season. But Clayton Keller, he was the finalist for the Calder Trophy in 2018, but it was won by New York Islanders forward Matthew Barzal. And this is what Clayton Keller had to say on being team captain of Utah Hockey Club. He said, "I'm extremely honored to be named captain of Utah Hockey Club. I'm grateful for this opportunity and want to thank the entire organization for believing in me. I understand it's a privilege to be a captain in the NHL and a huge honor to know that management, coaches, and my teammates had the belief in me to lead this team. It's a huge responsibility and one I have prepared for my whole life. We have a room of great leaders, and together we work hard to achieve our goal of becoming a playoff team." Which leads me into my first question, sorry. So the question is, what would Clayton Keller be named captain of Utah Hockey Club mean for the team, mean for him moving forward? So as Utah's first captain in team history, Clayton Keller will set the tone for the team's identity and culture as they enter the league for their inaugural season. So he's going to come out right away, making a name for not only himself, but for the team as well. The second thing is proven experience. So Clayton Keller, who's 26 years old, has been the consistent top 6 forward throughout his entire NHL career, most notably with the Arizona Coyotes, because that was the only team he's played for. His leadership experience began when he stepped up after the Coyotes traded former captain Oliver Ekman-Larsson to the Vancouver Canucks in 2021. And 3 years later, he would win the Stanley Cup with the Florida Panthers before signing with Toronto in the offseason. But anyway, over the years, Clayton Keller has developed into a dependable leader, which will be valuable for Utah's success going forward. So they're going to need him to step up when the team needs him the most. And that will be certainly what he does as team captain. On ice performance. So Clayton Keller is coming off an impressive 2023-2024 NHL season, scoring 33 goals and 76 points in 78 games. The year before, he had hit career highs with 37 goals and 86 points. So that was like his breakout season right there. His offensive skill set combined with his ability to elevate his game under pressure will be critical for leading the Utah Hockey Club through their early years in the league. So new teams are just starting out fresh. I mean, we've seen the Vegas Golden Knights. 2017, they came to the league, I believe. 1 year later, they would go all the way to the Stanley Cup Final in their first inaugural season, which was a loss to the Washington Capitals, but still an unbelievable run, for the Vegas Golden Knights. Then we would see the Seattle Kraken came to the league in 2021, missed the playoffs in their inaugural year. 1 year later, they make the playoffs and they get eliminated by the Dallas Stars in the second round of the 2023 Stanley Cup playoffs. So we could see something like that for Utah Hockey Club, but will they be making the playoffs in their first year? Probably not. But somewhere in like the near future or so, they would be a playoff team. But anyway, going back to Clayton Keller, so trace the highlights. So what is Clayton Keller known for on the ice? So that's another question that I will answer. So Clayton Keller, he is known for his playmaking abilities, his strong high hockey IQ, and consistent scoring touch. His determination to compete at a high level makes him the ideal figure to guide the Utah Hockey Club as they aim to become competitive and one of the best teams in the Western Conference. But as of right now, they're not one of the best teams in the Western Conference. But they're looking forward to being a great team in the Western Conference because, of course, you got teams like the Dallas Stars, you got the Edmonton Oilers, you got the Vegas Golden Knights. What's another one? You got the Colorado Avalanche, Winnipeg Jets. So teams that are already competitive, but Utah Hockey Club is, of course, trying to make a name for themselves in their inaugural season. But off the ice, Clayton Keller is respected for his calm demeanor and ability to bring his teammates together. So he has that strong bond and connection with his teammates. Impact on team development. So as the Utah Hockey Club looks to make a name for itself in their inaugural season in the NHL and moving forward, Clayton Keller's presence as captain will not only be a stabilizing force, but it could attract other high-level talent to the team in future years. So we did see over the offseason that they brought in Mikhail Sergachev from the Tampa Bay Lightning, who's already won I think 2 cups. Yeah, he was part of the Lightning for those 2 cups. So he's already won 2 cups. So he brings that Stanley Cup caliber experience to the team. So that should make them a playoff contender. Well, not right now, but I'm saying if they bring in more talent moving forward, they could sure be a playoff contender. Which leads me to the last topic, playoff aspirations. So Clayton Keller's leadership and work ethic will help build a foundation for future success. His experience in competitive situations from his time in the NCAA Frozen Four to his NHL seasons could be a source of inspiration for younger players as they adapt to the NHL level. So, of course, Utah Hockey Club, young team, like players that are looking forward to becoming better than they were last season. They're looking forward to have a solid, great season, which on Monday's show, the Hockey Talk with TG podcast, I will get into the season preview. I will give out my bold predictions, and I will give out standing predictions as well. So that's going to be a jam-packed episode for Monday, so you're not going to want to miss that. And, of course, Utah Hockey Club's first game of the regular season, game number 1. Their first game of the regular season is against the Chicago Blackhawks at the Delta Center Tuesday, October 8th. So, of course, as you guys know, the Delta Center is also home to the NBA's Utah Jazz. And so Utah Hockey Club will be sharing that same arena. The game will come on ESPN and ESPN Plus at 9 o'clock p.m. Central Time. So it's going to be part of a triple header on Tuesday, October 8th on opening night because, of course, we've got the Blues taking on the Seattle Kraken, which will be your afternoon game. Then we got Panthers taking on the Bruins, so the Panthers will unveil their Stanley Cup banner. So that'll be coming on at 6 o'clock p.m., I believe. And then the final game of the night, Blackhawks, Utah Hockey Club. A game that I will be staying up all night for because I'm a Blackhawks fan. And I just want to see how Utah Hockey Club does in their first game in the regular season. And hopefully the Blackhawks pull out with the win. All right, guys, so coming up next on the Hockey Talk with TG podcast, we will get into Jeremy Swayman's contract information along with previewing the NHL Global Series between the New Jersey Devils and Buffalo Sabres. So stay tuned after this.
They force a turnover. Here's Taves and Kane. 2-on-1. Hustling back is going up. A shot. Goal! Patrick Kane in overtime.
You're listening to The Roar.
Email from school about the incident today.
Scary.
You know, teachers like me, parents, we don't always know as much as you guys do about what's going on with other kids.
Half the time, it's rumors.
Yeah, but if you're ever concerned about a friend who's having trouble with alcohol, prescription drugs, anything, you need to tell an adult, someone you know and trust. That can be hard, but speaking up about a problem is what helping a friend is all about.
For more information, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Now back to the show on The Roar.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Hockey Talk with TG podcast. So glad you stay right there for the short little break. So now we're going to get into Jeremy Swayman's contract information, and then later on throughout the show, we'll preview the NHL Global Series between the New Jersey Devils and the Buffalo Sabres. So let's get started now. So Jeremy Swayman, currently unsigned with the Boston Bruins as of the moment. Like, not playing on the team right now. He's just unsigned. Basically like a free agent. So the current contract situation as of early October 2024, he is unsigned, but negotiations have reached a standstill, creating both pressure on Jeremy Swayman and the Bruins organization. The Bruins, however, did offer Jeremy Swayman around $8 million. So $8 million contract offered to Jeremy Swayman. But the details of the contract length and Swayman's stance on the offer remains unclear. So he's still uncertain on what to do. The impact on the Bruins salary cap. Boston has a limited salary cap in space, and signing Swayman to a significant deal could affect their flexibility to make other moves. And the Bruins' recent history of signing players to, team-friendly contract deals could also influence the negotiations. So that's the impact right there on the Bruins' salary cap. Pressure to perform. So Boston did really good last season. And I feel like it was not only because of the offense and defense, but it was also because of the duo of Linus Ullmark and Jeremy Swayman. Now, the year before that, 2022, 2023, before they were shockingly booted out of the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs by the Florida Panthers, before they were shockingly eliminated from the first round in 2023 Stanley Cup playoffs, they did take home the President's Trophy. And also that year, Linus Ullmark won the Vezina. And together, Linus Ullmark and Jeremy Swayman took home the William Jennings Trophy. So I feel like with that duo, probably made the Bruins one of the best teams to watch last season, and especially the year before that. I think the year before that, I know they did win the President's Trophy. I think they had 65 wins, 64, 65 wins during the 2022-2023 season. So, yeah. And also, if Jeremy Swayman does sign with the Bruins, he will have immediate pressure to perform and justify his contract, especially after Linus Ullmark winning the Vezina Trophy the year before, in 2023. Potential trade talks. So if negotiations don't come out right, if they don't progress, trade rumors might serve. I mean, I'm already seeing people make YouTube videos on where Jeremy Swayman could possibly go. Like some were saying, he can go to Utah Hockey Club, or he can come to the Chicago Blackhawks, or maybe he could be a great fit for the Anaheim Ducks. So basically teams that are trying to be better, that teams that aren't better right now, but are trying to be better in the near future. So that's what this is about. Now, my next topic, despite Jeremy Swayman being unsigned and Linus Ullmark in Ottawa, I feel like the Bruins still have a chance at making the Stanley Cup playoffs. And here's why. The strong defensive core. So the Bruins defense is still among the league's, well, I wouldn't say the best of the league, but the defense is very solid with Charlie McAvoy and Hampus Lindholm leading the charge right there. So would I say that they're the best, the Bruins had the best defense in the league? I don't know. There could be other teams competing for that, but the Bruins have a solid defense. And the defensive stability can help shield whoever ends up in goal. So it could be Jeremy Swayman. It could be Jonas Korpisalo. If it ends up being Korpisalo, then they will have to call up Brandon Bussi from the AHL. And the solid defense can reduce high danger chances, making it easier for the backup or developing goalie, a goalie that's looking forward to making a name for himself, to step in without dramatically affecting results. Another part is offensive firepower. So despite them losing key veterans like Patrice Bergeron and David Krejci, who are now retired, Boston still has a great offense in front of them, carrying them through games, such as forwards like Brad Marchand, the team's captain, David Pastrnak, Pavel Zacha, Charlie Coyle. The list goes on and on. I know I probably would have said Jake DeBrusk, but Jake DeBrusk is in Vancouver. He's playing for the Vancouver Canucks. He's not on the Bruins anymore, but the Bruins still have a great offense. They have a great offensive depth to win games, even if their goaltending isn't, the best. Which leads me to the next part of this discussion, the goaltending depth. Where on earth is the goaltending? Like, what are we going to do about this goaltending situation? So while Jeremy Swayman's uncertainty might lead the Bruins in a tough spot, temporary, there is a chance he could sign with the Boston Bruins before their regular season starts. They do play their final game Saturday against the Washington Capitals, their preseason game, and then they start their regular season Tuesday on opening night, taking on the defending Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers. So before the regular season starts, we could see Swayman sign with the Bruins. Or they could turn to Brandon Bussi, call him up as a backup goalie to Jonas Korpisalo, because Jonas Korpisalo, as of right now, is most likely going to get that starting role. But Brandon Bussi's stats in the AHL are not bad. They are not bad. So his stats in the AHL from last season are 23, 10, and 5 with a 2.67 goals against average and a .913 save percentage. Not bad stats at all. I actually do like these stats. I don't know if the Providence Bruins made the playoffs that year. I don't really watch the AHL as much. I may watch the Rockford IceHawks game every now and then, mostly because they're the affiliate to the Chicago Blackhawks. Or I may watch Chicago Wolves game every now and then. But other than that, I really don't watch the AHL as much. So I don't know if the Providence Bruins did make the playoffs with Brandon Bussi in appearance. But anyway, those stats are not bad. And even the stats from the year before, 2022-23 season. He had a 22-5-4 record with a 2.40 goals against average and a .924 save percentage. So again, not bad stats. This shows that he has developed his game. He's gotten better. Well, he's gotten better, sort of. I mean, his stats from 2022-23 are unbelievable. I really do like those stats than the stats that he had last year. So he's, gotten up and down. He's had an up and down year, those two seasons. But that comes to show that if you need a backup, a solid goalie that can be a great backup that's looking to make a name for himself, you could turn to Brandon Bussi of the AHL. And the team structure. The Bruins are one of the most balanced teams in the league. And their overall team structure might allow them to absorb the loss of Omar and potentially Jeremy Swayman if he does sign with another team. But of course, they still have a lot of great offense, great defense. The goaltending could possibly remain a factor. So that will be my concern with the team. But other than that, great team to watch. All right, so now we're going to get into the Global Series preview between the New Jersey Devils and the Buffalo Sabres. So they kick off the 2024-25 NHL regular season with 2 games in Prague at the O2 Arena on October 4th, which will come on at 12 o'clock p.m. Central Time on NHL Network, and October 5th, which comes on at 9 o'clock a.m. Central Time on NHL Network. So these games will both come on NHL Network. So, of course, we have had Global Series games before, so I don't know what number would this be, because we did have some before, like the Predators, Sharks went at it, Blackhawks, Flyers went at it in the Global Series. I know the Devils have been in the Global Series before. The Sabres are making their first appearance in the Global Series. But let's get into each player. So, of course, Andre Palat will be in his hometown of Prague, Sitia, and then that'll basically be it. So he'll be playing in his front of the home crowd, looking forward to make a name for himself and get on the score sheet, probably get a goal or assist. But for the team matchup, the Devils are coming off of a 38-39-5 2023-24 season, and are expected to be a playoff contender. At least I hope for them to be a playoff contender this season. Of course, they're led by Jack Hughes, who's looking forward to get on a 100-point season. I don't know if he's had a 100-point season before, but I hope to see him with a 100-point season this season, depending on if he stays healthy or not. So the Devils are led by Jack Hughes, Nico Hischier. In their high-tempo offense and improved defense under new head coach Sheldon Keefe will make them a dangerous team, because, of course, they fired Lindy Ruff, who's now coaching the Buffalo Sabres. And, of course, during the offseason, they also got Tomas Tatar, so he's back on the Devils. He did play for the Devils before. Now he's back on there. And, of course, they brought in Jacob Markstrom from the Calgary Flames, who hopes to bring the Devils back to the Stanley Cup playoffs. I almost said Stanley Cup final. But he hopes to bring them back to the Stanley Cup playoffs. And I believe the Devils will make the playoffs this season after shockingly missing out on the playoffs last season. For the Sabres side, they are coming off of a 39-37-6 season with 84 points. So identical records right there with the New Jersey Devils. And, of course, the Sabres are led by rising stars like Tage Thompson, a 40-goal scorer, and their captain, Rasmus Dahlin, are looking forward to getting back into the Stanley Cup playoffs, looking forward to end that long year playoff drought and get back into the playoffs. But they did bring in some new additions like Jason Zucker from the Nashville Predators. They brought in Ryan McLeod from the Edmonton Oilers, and another player. I can't think of his name, though. But the differences from last season, the Devils' depth has improved significantly. I mean, they did have a good depth last season as well, but with those additions from the offseason, the team has really improved and is looking forward to make a name for himself. Of course, Dawson Mercer with that new contract deal. They also brought in Brendan Dillon, and they brought in another player, but I cannot think of his name. But for the Sabres, they have a young core, young team, lots of talent. And I believe that talent will play a factor not only in the Global Series, but throughout the season, depending on how they do under Coach Lindy Ruff. Key player matchups, Tage Thompson versus Jack Hughes. Two of the league's most exciting young centers, except Tage Thompson's a little bit older than Jack Hughes. And Thompson is coming off of a 56-point season in 2023-24. 29 goals, 27 assists for 56 points in the 2023-24 season, while Jack Hughes continues to elevate his game as one of the NHL's most elite players. And this matchup could decide the pace and intensity of both games. And Tage Thompson had a breakout year in the 2022-23 season, notching 94 points in 78 games played. So 47 goals, 47 assists for 94 points in 78 games played. the goaltending battle, Jacob Markstrom versus Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. So, of course, Jacob Markstrom was traded to the Devils by the Calgary Flames during the offseason. And he had a rough year with the Flames last season with a 23-2 record with a 2.78 goals against average and a .905 save percentage. But that was because I feel like he had that year because the Flames, there wasn't too much defense in front of him. The offense, I don't know about the offense, but the defense, it wasn't too much of that in front of him. But now that he's on a team like the New Jersey Devils, he could have some defense in front of him. And yeah, I know Luke Hughes is out for the Devils, which is tough because I have him on my fantasy team, and I'm hoping he beats back soon. So he's out for the Devils. But other than that, I believe the Devils have a great structured defense, have a good offense, and Jacob Markstrom should do better with the Devils this season than he did with the Flames last season. For Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, his stats are not bad. He actually had a solid record last season, 27-22-4 with a 2.57 goals against average and a .910 save percentage. And he's shown significant growth in net, and his consistency and confidence are key if the Sabres want to make a run to the Stanley Cup playoffs, which I believe that they will, but highly unlikely they're not. Because I think I said the same thing last season and they didn't make the playoffs. But anyway, guys, that is going to do it for this show. So thank you guys for tuning in as always. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Of course, this is the final week of the preseason. There is one game on Monday, which is the Predators and Lightning, which was supposed to be for, I think, last week or the week before that. But because of Hurricane Helene, that game was postponed and it's been moved to Monday. So there's only one preseason game there. And then Tuesday, of course, is opening night, which will be a triple header, Blues Kraken playing at 3:30 p.m. Central Time, followed by Bruins taking on the defending Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers. That will come on at 6 o'clock p.m. Central Time. And then the final game of the night, the game that I will be staying up all night for, Chicago Blackhawks taking on Utah Hockey Club, which will come on at 9 o'clock p.m. Central Time. And all these games will be on ESPN, by the way. So yeah, final week of the preseason. Can't wait for opening night. Hopefully you guys have a great weekend. God first as always. Be blessed. And I'll see you guys Monday to preview the 2024-25 season. I'll give out my bold predictions. I'll give out team standings, stuff like that. So I'll see you guys then, and take care.